Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Charting Analysis. I have been charting on Arrow Vortex in Step Prime for a little bit over a year now, and I wanted to share my own thoughts, rhythm process, gimmicks, feedback, stuff I like, stuff I don't like, constructive criticism, etc. about general charts. So it's not limited to just like custom charts. It can be your charts. It can be official under mirror charts and see how I just like them, etc. So was recently organizing for my collections, and I noticed how over time I have improved as a charter, and I wanted to go over with you guys and go skim through some of my earlier charts because I think it really shows some of the flaws that at the time I didn't understand what was wrong with, and try to direct it and explain to you guys why some things of a chart don't work as well as, just overall analyze it. So this is my first proper chart, which was Phony, and it was like slightly less than a year ago. So it's a year gonna pass in like 2 weeks. So I have recharted this already a little bit. The S8 is my newer version. I don't remember when I made that, but the hard 11 is the close to the original. And let's just go over it. Okay, that was the intro, and as you can see here, it's using these basic triple notes, these quarter notes. And actually, these quarter notes work okay because they do. This is almost like for like an S2 or like an S3. But I have a problem with this. If you're gonna make it easy, then you need to commit more, because it's almost like sometimes it gets way too easy, sometimes way too hard. Like here, there's a triple. A new player is not going to be able to react to these patterns enough. What, in my opinion, what would have been better if you want to continue this easier route is that's much easier for a new player to comprehend. But at the same time, if you want to make it more like an S5, add some more holds, add some more general flow to it. The voice is lingering here. I don't know, it's not a great idea that you should have a single note here because, the vocalist is still hovering. It's not like a distinct, like, abrupt end to the sound, so you should make this a hold, for example. I guess the rest is fine, I guess. Just one thing, hold aesthetics 101. Make sure you don't connect things overlapping because it looks bad. Not always. Sometimes it is used for like jumps, but if you're like hold to hold, you generally want to remove the hold end to it. This is preference here. Depends on the person. Yeah, it's not the biggest deal. And you also have to consider playability and for new players too. This actually finds a double step. This part is like a build up to suspense. What's very different about my older charts was I used to be very experimental with the scroll changes, and actually for this suspenseful part, this actually works pretty well, I have to admit. And what's it called? This here, it goes from a 10 to a 0.5, meaning it very quickly the notes come down, and then it just slows down, meaning the notes are just going to suddenly disappear. And then from here, it just slowly gets faster. Okay, you see what the issue is here? In the beginning of this first verse, you have a triple note, this little sequence, which is very similar to the top rhythm where it's not too bad. But then all of a sudden, you have constant quarter notes, jumps. It's very overwhelming for a new player. Again, you have to keep it balanced and consistent. So yeah, first of all, hold static here, and then afterwards, again, it's a new player, so you have to keep that in mind. You need to have holds either nothing or holds as breaks for the player. As you can see, this has a little bit more variation with the patterns. This generally looks more interesting. Holds between breaks. And at the very end, you do have a little stream, more signifying, hey, the chart is getting a little bit harder. So now this is more leading towards like S5, S6 territory, okay? Okay, this crash here with the drum is actually very smart to put a jump here. I like that, what I did there. This is vocal. I don't know, you shouldn't, it wasn't a great idea back then for me to have another jump here because there's nothing that would signify that is a significant part of the song. The audio wave also says that too. Rhythm wise, this is fine. It just looks ugly as hell and there's no variation here. And then here it just drops the ball with the rhythm. Jumps are actually okay there. Continues. Again, everything is either on the left or right. There's nothing going on in the middle. And I have to admit, with my recent charts, a lot of my charts do tend to stay in the middle a lot, but this is either too left or too right. There's nothing happening in the middle with the player. They're just constantly going to the left or right. Okay, a lot just happened. We have a basic stare. I mean, stares are usually introduced with like S9s and they're usually eighth notes, but yeah, I don't recommend stares like this, especially at quarter notes like this. This is just not, new players are just not going to understand this and they're just going to double step everything. So like, how you intended, it's probably not going to happen. And I'm going to disregard the balancing and stuff right now because now I decide to buff this chart by adding some eighth notes here. And honestly, it is rhythmically decent. That's a double step here. I forgot to enable the dancing bot. See? This part's good. Like the nas and is they're repeating the same thing. And you're kind of moving left to right with the dancing flow. This is fine. I think since there's so much more happening, where if you could add some visual effects, if there's a hold right here, that's one way. You can also just add a little bit of a build up with some harder patterns. That's fine too. Just leaving it here with just a single note, it's a little bit of a letdown, but okay, let's do this. Okay, that's the first part of the chorus. I gotta say, I think my original was not like this, and I actually patched this up in a future update, but there are more things, there's more words being said here, but I'll let that slide, I guess. I had this problem a lot with this chart where there's like extra hold notes above here. Rhythmically, it's fine, it's just not the best. Especially when there's no gimmicks being added, it's just like, it's kind of bland. This is actually a pretty decent part, except there's a... It's okay. A hold here. The vocalist is holding there. And now, if you want to try include that stare concept from earlier, you can introduce it to the player very slowly in a more natural way with these holds. These are technically quarter notes still, but it's in a much more natural place where the player has to learn and adapt, which is a much smarter execution of the idea. That's fine. You have this occurring same general gimmick. This is not the most pleasant to look at. I generally tend to, you know, up and downs here would have been better. There's definitely more symbols. I mean, words that I ignored. This phony gimmick is very smart. I actually like that. Again, with the slowdowns to signify the part of an ending with the slowdowns and the constant blue holds. That's smart. This is not smart. You add a blue note right after a hold. The player's not going to see that. It should have been a yellow to know, you know, you actually have to hit something next. Then it's just going to be unfair because then you're just going to miss because of a gimmick. Which is hard to balance gimmicks between playability and sight readability. So. This has definitely been recharted here. It's okay. Doesn't look visually great, but it works by itself. I actually have no issues really. It just doesn't look the most visually appealing compared to my charting style now, but this could definitely be nicer here. Like a little 16th, little some spice here. Because the voice is still lingering. Again, this is more of a custom charter's mindset for it. And if it was like an anime chart, they would not overcomplicate this, but I like to. A little bit of spice. Those crosses are good. As I can remember playing this speed up was way too difficult to transition into, but it's actually a very good segue as it builds up. A little disappointed to see that. So, going into the final chorus, as you can see, it continues the same general rhythm. You have a pattern on the right, so why not, after nearing the end of this, the part before the chorus repeats again. Look how much better that is. Let me explain what I did. There's a pattern on the right. I balanced it on the left with technically something that is considered physically less demanding, but it is still hard in its own way because it has some twists, and for newer players, they have to again adapt, and it's hard in its own way. Variation, much better. It's charting, distribution, balance. I actually like this part a lot. Actually, it's pretty good. I think a hold here would have been a better decision. Because like there's like a yai sound instead of just a distinct note. But both work fine. It's just my charting style there. This kind of breaks the principle of the phony where it was just like the left side, but okay, that's fine. I kind of like it because it's near the end of the chorus, so maybe the vocalist is getting more emotional, so that's why it's breaking the rules a bit of the chart, how it's just on the left. So I like that. Got some jumps here. A little bit filler, but I guess it's fine. Oh, so this is double step. This should definitely be switched, mirrored. And that's Phony. Overall, for my first chart, it's decent. It has its flaws, but it could be worse. And I think this is, you know, the whole reason why I wanted to make this series is to show what makes charting, what makes, you know, what to look out when charting, common mistakes, things to look out for, etc. So yeah, I'm gonna go through another chart, being Ganju by Yasabi, which is another chart I made, which was also really good. I was really happy at the time. So yeah.